Party rallies around the country have been drawing crowds of thousands, and the Americans for Prosperity has played a big role in getting the movement off the ground.
The numbers were mind-boggling. I mean, we had 650 people in Balsam Lake, 3,000 in Appleton, 4,000 in Fond du Lac, 4,000 in Sheboygan. When we did the Taxpayer Tea Party at the lakefront in Milwaukee, 15,000 people showed up.
When I go to our Americans for Prosperity rallies and events and town halls, and I've been to hundreds of them in the last year and a half or so, I always ask one question: what do you want from government? And you can imagine the answer is in many different forms, but the one theme that stands out is we just want to be left alone. We want to live our lives, enjoy our freedoms.
Some of us who've been involved in this for a long time, first reaction to the Tea Partiers might be, and you only realize there's a war on now? You haven't noticed this creeping up on you for the last 20, 30, 10 years? And the answer was no. I was running my life. I was raising my family. I was working. Nobody told me I should fear the government and that the government might do very bad things to my future and my kids' future.
These people who had never been involved in a movement before have now been at it for over a year, with a level of intensity that has surprised even rally organizers.
I kept waiting after April for things to taper down, and it happened again in July. And then I thought it'll taper down, and you had the August revolts with the town hall meetings. And then I thought it would sort of cool down a bit, and you had September 12th. And then you had the November elections in New Jersey and Virginia, which, if anything, were more explosive than the demonstrations. And then just when you thought it was safe to go back in the water, Massachusetts elects a conservative Republican on the promise to defeat government-run health care. So each time that you thought maybe people would go back to sleep, get out of the public square, not focus on the national and state problems, people have gotten more engaged, not less, more.
I am seeing no signs of any loss of energy. In fact, I'm continuing to see the poll numbers go our way. I'm continuing to see the activism out there. I think it's interesting. I have no idea whether you will see the same number of people turning out to tea parties and rallies and broad events. I don't know. But I do know that the breadth and the depth of the activism is greater than it's ever been before.
Right now, many participants are focusing their anger on the recent Healthcare Reform Act. Organizers want to make sure to channel that energy to other issues if and when the healthcare issue goes away.
I think that when this battle is over, we need to pivot to the federal budget, because that's when the appropriation bills will start rolling down the highway, and we need to take those on as a movement, one by one, and fight them in the same determined, sustained way that we've taken on this healthcare takeover. And then the climate issue, the global warming issue, is the other key one that we have to keep fighting.
And where I see it going is that people are going to be more and more mobilized to make their voices heard. That's all we have until we get a chance to vote. So the voices against healthcare reform, cap and trade and tax and kill, Employee No Choice Act. You notice I renamed all these bills to tell people really what it is. All of those kinds of pieces of proposals in legislation, the voice of the people is going to get stronger and stronger and stronger. That's where I hope it will go, and that's what is happening. Ultimately, what those voices will do is to have more and more people informed of the facts, such that come election time, they will elect people who will listen to them, and they will elect people who will be willing to undo some of the damage that's going to be done by some of this egregious legislation.
It's a phenomenon, and I don't know how long it's going to last. My instincts tell me now that this is so deep that you're going to see a tsunami of epic proportions in November, and then it'll be fascinating to look back over history, if that happens, when it happens, to see what happens in the next 2 years going into 2012.
We've got to keep focusing on these individual issues, exposing the left for what they are, big spending, elitist, and then we'll win.
And on Thursday in Madison and around the country, the Tea Party movement will take another swing at that goal. For the MacIver Institute, I'm Bill Osmolsky.